Well, Ukraine is rejecting Moscow's demand to surrender the besieged city of Mariupol in exchange for safe passage, if you can imagine what they're going through right now, and they're rejecting it. Ukraine's deputy prime minister said this morning there is no chance of surrender. Yesterday, Moscow had called for Ukrainian forces to lay down their arms by today and leave the city or be considered, quote, with the bandits. This as another horrific attack rocked Mariupol yesterday. Russian forces bombed an art school where, once again, hundreds of civilians were sheltering. Local officials say around 400 women and children had taken refuge inside the school before it was bombed. The number of casualties is unclear, but the city's mayor says hundreds might be dead.
So David, talk about Vladimir Putin's strategy for those of us watching in the West, for those of us who actually do value human life. The Ukrainians put in large letters children in Russian, where children are seeking shelter in Mariupol, and they target it. Children is used as a target, a reason to actually, oh, here's an opportunity Russians think to kill a lot of children at one time. They did it again here. What is, I'm sorry to be so ignorant, but what is the strategy there other than to
terrorize,
to terrorize, and actually for Vladimir Putin in the long run put himself in a position, in a hole he can never climb out of in the international community, ever. He thinks this is Grozny, Aleppo. It actually, you know what? It's moving in that direction, but the whole world's eyes are on this in a way they weren't on Aleppo for whatever reason.
So I don't think he has a strategy for victory from the beginning. He's lacked an end game. He is digging himself deeper into a hole. I'm just saying that the amount of damage that he can do, even as he gets deeper in that hole, is enormous. That's why Zelensky is aggressively seeking negotiations with him, because he sees Putin, I don't want to say as an irrational leader, but as a leader who keeps doubling down, even at the cost of Russia's future. Russia itself is going to be destroyed by the sanctions that are being put in place. If they remain, that country is just
people are leaving in droves.
Yes, and Putin is in a rage about that. He condemns them as scum and traitors. The rhetoric he's using, I find more and more frightening. So, what's his plan? I don't think he has one. I think everything you said about the impossibility of this Russian force really subduing Ukraine and making it a peaceful place that accepts Russian occupation. It's not going to happen.
Never.
In a way, that's more dangerous, right? The less he has a plan, the more dangerous he becomes.
So.
The more his back is up against the wall, the more dangerous he becomes.
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, that's been our calculation for 2 months right now, and look where it's led us.
Flailing.
At some point, we have to hold him to account. At some point, we have to hold him to standards. You know, he's used nuclear blackmail to allow us to absolutely wipe out Mariupol, to destroy Ukraine, to destroy cities, and it's been nuclear blackmail. Of course, the Soviets did this all the time too. So the question is, what's next? Is it Poland next? Is it Finland next? I mean, at some point we have to stop playing by his ground rules, because look where it's gotten us. But let's talk about settlement for a second, because it keeps going back and forth. At one moment, Zelensky says bitterly, the West, well, they're not all we thought they were. So maybe we don't want to go into NATO after all. Maybe we'll be a neutral country. And then, of course, a few days later, he says, never, we're against neutrality. I'm just curious where this ends up if it's a negotiated settlement. It seems to me Crimea, the Donbass region, a neutral Ukraine is where this is leading. Is that something that the Ukrainians will ultimately have to accept?
First of all, Joe, your last point is exactly right. It's the Ukrainians who will have to decide. So we should not be pushing the Ukrainians one way or the other on this. That's number one. But number two, yes, President Zelensky wants to provide security for his people, for Ukraine. And he's looking for ways to do that. he's come to the conclusion that that NATO is not that answer, at least for now. It's still in his constitution, so that could still be an option later on, but it's not for now. And he's looking for something for now.
Right.
So he's looking for other options, other ways to secure his people.
I'd still like to know why NATO is not for now, but
I agree with you. I agree with you. We've, the United States in 2008.
Well, you look at the pictures, because we want that to stop for now.
Yeah, but
that's why it's not for now. It's just at some point we're going to have to figure out what the Ukrainians will accept,
and the Ukrainians will have to decide what they will accept. And President Zelensky has been pretty good at understanding where the Ukrainian people are. They are 100% with the deputy prime minister who said no, we're not surrendering, and President Zelensky is exactly there.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.